Appendix A in your textbook covers educational financing. I decided to add this to the class for two reasons. Student loans have become a huge issue for current students, and you could be faced with these same types of decisions for your own children. The increase in student loans is driven by the increase in the desire for higher education. This chart from 2013 clearly demonstrates the correlation between highest education level and unemployment and average weekly earnings. No surprise, higher educational level equals lower unemployment rate and higher weekly earnings. Everyone here is already at level 3, some college, no degree. Some may be at level 4, associate degree. When you graduate from Ole Miss, you'll be at level 5, bachelor's degree, higher monthly earnings and lower unemployment rate than the average. This is the same data, presented a bit differently, but for 2015. Same relationships. Bachelor's degree, 2.8% unemployment, $1,137 average weekly earnings makes about $59,000 a year. I'm not going to go very deep in the area of student loans. I don't personally know that much, and that's what our financial aid office is for. But I will briefly review the various types of assistance available. You're all probably familiar with FAFSA. If you want federal aid, you have to fill it out. This is for money that has to be repaid. Scholarships and grants do not have to be repaid, but usually require a demonstration of financial need. Pell Grants are among the most common federal grants. They're available for a maximum of 12 semesters. Maximum grant is $58.15 per year. FSEOG, the Federal Supplemental Education Opportunity Grant, provides a maximum of $4,000 annually. It's tied to the Pell Grant. You have to have a Pell Grant before you can get this. It's in the case of extreme financial need. Some other available grants include TEACH. It's aimed at teachers and requires a teaching assignment within 8 years of graduation. Iraq and Afghanistan grants for those who lost a parent in Iraq or Afghanistan. Interestingly, the max was reduced this year. Mississippi has tuition assistance grants, and many other states do as well. You must be a resident of the state for at least a year. You must have an ACT of 15 or above, and have not received the full Pell Grant. The Federal Reserve Bank of New York and the Department of Education report that the annual total amount of student loans is about $100 billion. The outstanding loan balance is $1.11 trillion. The interest rates on student loans change every year. Here are the current rates for the 2016-17 year, ranging from 3.76 up to 6.31. Stafford loans are the most frequently dispersed. Interest accrues on these while you are in school. It can be paid or it can be added to the loan balance, which can result in negative amortization. What you owe is a lot more than what you actually borrowed. Stafford loans may be subsidized in extreme financial situations. Subsidized means the government pays the interest while the student is enrolled in school. Other loans available, Perkins Loans, again, extreme financial need. It's available only in a subsidized form. It's a low rate, 10-year repayment, and a longer grace period. Plus loans are loans made by parents or graduate students. Parents can only borrow to cover what is not covered by the financial package. Higher rates than Stafford and Perkins loans. And there are private student loans. Higher rates, but no FAFSA required. Let's get to the repayment part. Stafford loans, you must start repaying 6 months after no longer enrolled or dropped to half-time. Perkins loans, 9 months. Plus loans, 60 days after the loan is dispersed. Think immediately. May be deferred if the student is in school, but interest does accrue during that time. There are a variety of repayment options. The standard one is a fixed amount monthly for a time not to exceed 10 years. Extended takes that to 25 years. Graduated, payment starts low and increases. Income contingent, the monthly payment is recomputed annually based on income. The repayment term can be up to 25 years. If you strictly follow the repayment terms, it can be forgiven at 25 years, but the forgiven balance is considered taxable income. Income sensitive, a percentage of monthly income for 10 years. Income based, the payment is 15% of discretionary income, which is computed as adjusted gross income off your tax return, AGI, minus 150% of the poverty line for your family situation in your state. Again, it's forgiven after 25 years if strictly followed. And there's a pay-as-you-earn option. This is the newest one. The payment cap is 10% of discretionary income, but it requires proof of financial hardship. The balance can be forgiven after 20 years, after 10 years if you're employed in public service. Consolidation loans are convenient, and it will reduce your payments to one lower payment, but it can also extend the term to up to 30 years. And unless you're having a difficult time making the loan payments, these are usually not a good idea. This chart is in your text and shows default data for 2004, 9, and 14. Student loans are on the far left. The gold bar is 2014. Look how it has grown for student loans. Clear from the chart, we can see defaults have increased significantly in the last 10 years. Be aware, there is no limit on the length of time lenders can pursue repayment. With federal student loans, the government can garnish your wages, withhold tax refunds, and withhold other federal benefits. This is actually what drove me to add this short lecture to the class. This chart appeared in a Wall Street Journal article on 12/21/2016. Think about this. The number of Americans whose Social Security checks were garnished due to unpaid federal student loans. Look at the far right, 2014 and 15. People over 65 are having their Social Security garnished for student loans. You do not want to be in that situation. But if a loan term gets extended to 30 years, you could be paying off those loans in your golden years. It is possible to get a student loan deferred or forgiven. Deferment can be obtained if you re-enroll in school, you demonstrate financial hardship, you're unemployed, or you're deployed. Forgiveness usually involves some form of public service, military service, or volunteer, and we're going to see some options of that on the next slide. Loan forgiveness comes under the Public Loan Forgiveness Program, part of a 2007 bill. It applies to full-time public service employees. You must have made 120 qualifying loan payments. That's 10 years. It applies to eligible direct loans. Eligible programs include the Peace Corps, AmeriCorps, military service, teachers who serve in low-income areas, work with students with disabilities, or work in high-need schools, law students who serve with nonprofits or public interest organizations, medical students involved in medical research or work in low-income or remote areas. Loan cancellation is actually loan discharge. This requires very special circumstances: death, total and permanent disability, fraud by the school, that means they forged a promissory note, and bankruptcy, though this is very rare, only if repayment would create a significant hardship. Another source of student income, federal work-study programs, allows the student to work on campus, which is very convenient, and usually is designed to fit around the student's class schedule. The pay, however, is usually fairly low. Student loans have become such a huge issue for current students. If you have student loans now, you need to start thinking about how you're going to repay them when you graduate. You do not want to have your tax refund taken or your Social Security garnished for student loans.